In Wisconsin, Governor Tony Evers is sounding the alarm about the shutdown leading to Wisconsin's SNAP benefits program FoodShare not having enough funding for next month. All the while today, an Assembly committee holds a hearing on that report last week from the Capital Times newspaper that the Department of Public Instruction hid hundreds of cases of teacher sexual misconduct and grooming cases from the public. Time to dig into those on UpFront Thursdays. We welcome Matt Smith, co-host of UpFront and political director at WISN. Matt, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Let's talk news of the day first off. That report from the Capital Times in Madison about the Department of Public Instruction and the mishandling or the non-handling of sexual misconduct cases with teachers. A hearing is being held today about this. What do you know about it?
Yeah, so the hearing going on for hours, multiple hours, several officials from the Department of Public Instruction testifying before lawmakers, a group of Assembly lawmakers led by Republicans. The state superintendent, Jill Underly, was not there herself. Some Republican lawmakers blasting that. She says she had a previous engagement, accepting an award at Indiana University, where she graduated from. This issue, though, is not going away. DPI has pushed back a little bit against some of the reporting in this Cap Times article, but it has caught the attention of lawmakers across the aisle, of candidates running for governor, just in how DPI investigates and handles claims or accusations of inappropriate wrongdoing. A lot of these cases may not have risen to the criminal level, so let's say a Snapchat or a series of Snapchats, and just the process that DPI goes through in terms of a state investigation and whether teachers are removed from the classroom. So I think this is the first in several hearings and the first of several actions that the legislature may take, but some fascinating back and forth at the Capitol this afternoon.
Let's talk about the government shutdown and what's happening with Wisconsin's FoodShare, which is known as SNAP here. Those funds expected to run out basically at the end of this month. And you're talking to Republican Senate President Mary Felskowski about this. Give us a preview of what she's telling you.
So everyone is initially saying, listen, this is a federal government issue. The governor is now holding events across the state. He was in Racine yesterday. State health officials tell us $114 million a month from the federal government funds FoodShare in Wisconsin. So it's an incredible number just in terms of money. Some 700,000 Wisconsinites use food assistance benefits every month. So the question is, if this money isn't here, as is predicted, if the shutdown continues, what happens then? So some of the next logical questions may be, well, can the state legislature step in? There's some complicated issues with that, first and foremost. A state program looking to supplement federal funds, I think it technically, I've been told, would become complicated. That aside, the Senate President, Republican Mary Felskowski, says she doesn't see a scenario at this point where the legislature would even step in to try to cover those costs, because this is a federal issue. So we're going to explore that conversation and where everyone is coming from this on Sunday, now as this deadline looms next weekend, November 1st.
Yeah, there's some real concern about it from families across Wisconsin. So this is obviously an issue that will be really closely watched. You actually, WISN attended as well as WBAY, Eric Toney's announcement of Attorney General, running for Attorney General once again. Is he expecting things to go differently this time around? Right,
of 4 years ago against Josh Kaul. Listen, it was an incredibly close race. Josh Kaul won by a slim margin. And this is where you look to top of the ticket. We always talk about who's going to be at the top of the ticket just in terms of the governor's race and how that could impact down ballot races. I know Republicans are getting behind Eric Toney. He clearly had the support of law enforcement. I believe he was up in Brown County just today announcing some more endorsements. So it's going to be interesting to see if these issues that they talk about, which they've already started to percolate when you look at crime and prosecutions and how the state crime lab is being handled, whether it's somewhat of a carbon copy or if new issues pop up. And not to mention, you have the Trump administration in the middle of all of this. You have Attorney General Josh Kaul suing with attorney generals from across the country, dozens upon dozens of lawsuits. So how that factors in to this race will also be fascinating, as it appears at this point to be a repeat from 4 years ago.
A lot of focus has been recently about public figures and their safety in especially these large settings. But this is an interesting thing that came up with Chief Justice Jill Karofsky with the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And a man charged in Dane County was stalking her. And you spoke with her about this. This has to be scary.
It is, yeah, and it's a reality that judges and justices across the state and the country, for that matter, are facing. So we have this one specific incident, this stalking case that was charged just this week in Dane County. And what she's really looking to do as the new Chief Justice is she walks us through how right now there's essentially 4 law enforcement officers that are in charge for safety for the entire court system in the state of Wisconsin. That funding runs out next year. So her first goal is to ensure that funding stays, but how do we bolster security for judges and justices across the state? That's part of our conversation, as well as the politics of the court, the record spending we're seeing, and just what this new court and what this 4-3 liberal majority means to the new Chief Justice, as there is a ton of attention on this court just seemingly every day and every week here in the state of Wisconsin.
Matt Smith, we appreciate you joining us this afternoon.
Have a good afternoon, Cammie.
Thank you.